Most people pack completely wrong for Acatenango, and they end up miserable halfway up the volcano. Don't be that person. If you've signed up to hike the Acatenango volcano in Guatemala and you want to actually enjoy this experience instead of being miserable, you're in the right place. I've been hiking around the world for over a decade, and I just got back from my second trip up Acatenango. So I've already made the mistakes, I've carried way too much weight, and I've figured out exactly what's worth bringing and what's not. Because trust me, the last thing you want is to be halfway up a volcano thinking, why did I bring this with me? So I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to stay comfortable, warm, and prepared without overpacking. Before we get into the gear, there are a few important things you should know that will probably change the way you pack. First, I made this video for the 2-day hike. You go up on the first day, you sleep at the base camp the first night, summit the second day, and then come back down. So you're packing for a 2-day hike. There is no running water on the volcano, even at the base camp. So whatever you'll need to drink for about a day and a half, you will need to carry with you. Next, you can actually hire a porter, somebody from the local community who will carry your backpack up for you. They have a weight limit of 24 pounds or 11 kilos, so you still need to be smart about what you bring. And most importantly, it gets really cold at the top. And as you may have guessed, like there's no running water at base camp, there's obviously no heat. The company that we went with provided really warm blankets, sleeping bags, and pillows at the top already in the base camp, so we didn't need to carry these items with us. And lastly, this hike is no joke. It's pretty challenging, so you need to be very intentional about what you carry. In the description of this video, I will include links to some of the specific gear that I talk about, as well as discount codes for you, so make sure to check that out. All right, let's get started with two of the most important items that you're going to bring with you. Number one, your backpack, and number two, your shoes. The size of your backpack is going to depend on whether or not you have a porter who's carrying another bag for you. Even if you hire a porter, you'll still need to carry some items with you on your back, including rain gear in case it rains while you're walking up the volcano, snacks, the water you want to drink for your walk up, sunscreen, hat, sunglasses, those type of things. On my most recent Acatenango hike, I brought my trusty Osprey Exos backpack. Now, this is a backpack that I've had for over a decade. It's like my home base and my best friend. I will say this is a lot bigger. This is a 48-liter backpack, and you don't need a backpack this big. Osprey makes some really cool 34-liter bags, and that size is perfect for a 2-day volcano hike. And again, if you are going to hire a porter, you'll need to supply a backpack for them. Hanging behind me, you see my Eddie Bauer backpack. That's a 25-liter backpack, which is the perfect size to send up with the porters. It's important that the backpack that you carry with you has a waist strap as well as a chest strap so that your weight is evenly distributed. That will be the most comfortable. Let's talk about shoes, one of the most hotly debated topics in the hiking world. Hikers are typically choosing between hiking boots and trail running shoes, and I am here to tell you, choose whichever one is most comfortable for you. People always ask for more challenging hikes. Oh, do I need to switch to hiking boots? I usually wear trail runners, but this seems like a really hard hike. Do I need hiking boots? And my answer for you is whatever you're most comfortable in. If you're like me and you don't like hiking boots, then it's not a good idea to switch to hiking boots for a challenging hike. I hiked up Acatenango in my trusty Brooks Cascadia trail runners. These are my favorite shoes. They've been all over the world with me. I buy a new pair every year because of how much I hike, and I absolutely love them. However, your feet are different from mine, so make sure that you go to your local gear shop and try on several different pairs to see what feels most comfortable. Trekking poles. Now, these are very handy because the volcano is steep going up and down. I always hike with my trekking poles. Some people really don't like them. What did you think about not having poles? Did you wish you had them at all?
Sometimes.
Okay. I recommend bringing trekking poles for this hike in particular because especially the way going down can be very slippery, and I think that poles will help you to not slip as much. Our hiking company had poles to rent for around $3 US, so I rented them rather than flying with them. Let's get into the most fun category, clothing. A few things to think about when you're picking your clothing for this hike. On the way up, it's likely going to be sunny and warm and you're hiking uphill, so you're hot. You can choose either pants or wore shorts. Most people in our group were wearing pants. Once you get to the base camp, you're at a much higher elevation and it's going to be cold. So you need to pack layers for the cold weather. You need to think about what you're going to sleep in and what you're going to summit the volcano in when it's cold and dark the next morning. The clothes, I did a really good job of packing the exact clothes that I needed, nothing more, nothing less. We'll start with tops. This is my -33 quarter zip sun hoodie. This thing is amazing. I have been hiking forever. I just got this and I am not kidding you. I never want to hike in another shirt again. It was perfect. I know it might look kind of warm, but it's a very lightweight merino wool, and merino wool is really good at temperature regulation. So when it's hot, it actually keeps you cool and it protects your skin from the sun. I wore this hiking up and down the volcano. Next for tops is my -33 mid-weight base layer top. And I wore it the first evening at base camp while I was sleeping and to summit the volcano the next morning. My next top layer recommendation is a fleece. Now this is a Sky Goat camp hooded jacket. Sky Goat is a small company based in Montana, and this is a new product to me. I absolutely loved it. I wore this actually not just on the volcano hike, but all around Guatemala, and chilly mornings and chilly evenings. This was like my most worn jacket on the trip. Big shout out to Sky Goat. My final top layer is this REI Micro Trek insulated hoodie. This kept me super warm. This was the perfect layering system. Again, just to recap, on the bottom, I have my wool base layer from -33. My mid layer is my Sky Goat fleece, and my top layer is my REI puffy. Since you'll have at least 3 layers, pro tip is to make sure that your top layer, which for me was the REI jacket, is probably a size up than what you would usually get. So I got a large in that REI jacket, whereas I would normally get a medium, just so I could make sure I could comfortably fit all my layers beneath. Now let's talk about bottoms. I brought 1 pair of hiking pants. Pro tip again here is to make sure that you can fit 1 more pair of base layer pants underneath these for the volcano summit. And you'll need 1 pair of base layer bottoms. These are my -33 merino wool mid-weight base layers. They're so cozy. And then 1 sports bra, 1 pair of hiking socks. These are my -33 lightweight crew socks. They are made in the US in New Hampshire and I adore them. If your feet tend to get really cold, you can bring 1 more pair of socks to put on at nighttime. Speaking of cold, let's talk about warm accessories. I brought my -33 beanie, my Sky Goat neck gaiter, my merino wool glove liners by -33 again. These were awesome for the summit hike. They are thin, but also very warm, and they were exactly what I needed to be able to comfortably use my trekking poles and stay warm getting up the volcano. This is optional, but I am really glad that I brought it. This is a balaclava, so it's kind of like what you would wear for skiing. You put it over your head and it keeps your ears super warm, and if it's windy, it makes you a lot more comfortable. I actually wore this underneath my beanie just for the summit. You'll want to bring a hat and a buff. The buff is particularly helpful on this hike because it's really dusty on the volcano. So as you're walking up or walking back down and there's a lot of dust in the air, I always like to just pull this up over my face a little bit. It's fogging up my glasses right now, but pull it up over my face to keep me from inhaling too much dust. This is a very random item that I love a lot because I love to sit down, and this is a sitting pad. Don't underestimate the power of a sitting pad. People are always jealous when they see this because you can either sit your butt on the dirty, dusty ground and then your butt gets all dirty and the clothes that you're gonna wear for 2 days, or you can whip out your sitting pad that you're keeping in the outside of your backpack for easy access and sit on it. We also discovered another usage for the sitting pad on this hike. There was a dog that was really thirsty. We wanted to give him water, but obviously didn't have like a bowl or didn't really want him to drink out of our hands. So we like shaped the sitting pad like this, and then the dog just drank right out of it, and it was so cute and amazing. Right before I left, I picked up this phone holder attachment for my backpack from REI, and I really, really liked it. So it attaches onto your chest strap, and then you just keep your phone, or you could do like chapstick or a snack or anything that you want super accessible right here on your chest. I used this a lot and I'm glad I brought it. Let's talk about rain gear. I did the volcano hike in dry season in March, and so I did not anticipate having any rain. Therefore, I did not bring a fancy or expensive rain jacket. Instead, I brought this plastic poncho that I didn't even open because it didn't rain. If you're going in the wet season, you may want to consider bringing a rain jacket. And I don't ever hike without my backpack cover. This is a waterproof cover that goes over the outside of my backpack, because if it did start raining, the worst thing that can happen is that all of your stuff inside your bag gets wet. Another item that I always bring, because it's super lightweight but very useful, is a kitchen-sized trash bag. Now, this is great for waterproofing your bag. Before you pack any of your stuff in your backpack, you put the kitchen trash bag in, you put all of your stuff then inside it, like kind of like a liner for all of your stuff, tie it up at the top, and you have some extra waterproofing for almost no weight, and you probably already have these in your kitchen. I put all of the clothes that I wasn't wearing inside an REI packing cube, and all of my accessories inside these Eagle Creek accessory bags. Let's talk about toiletries, and we'll start with bathroom related items. A Kula cloth. Once I started hiking with these, I never stopped. It comes on every trip. This is for the ladies. It's an antimicrobial reusable pee cloth. So you hang this on the outside of your backpack. If you're going to pee in nature, you open it up, use it like a little wipe, close it back up, and hang it again on the outside of your backpack. And then you wash it, hand wash it with a little soap and water whenever you can. I also brought toilet paper. Our company did provide toilet paper, but I'm glad I brought my own because it ran out after a couple of hours. You'll also want some handy dandy wet wipes and antibacterial wipes, because again, there's no running water up there, so you won't be washing your hands. Tiny size deodorant, tiny toothpaste and toothbrush, hand sanitizer, always a must, sunscreen, chapstick with sunscreen, a comb, extra ponytail holder, and nail clippers. I always bring nail clippers too, no matter how short the hike is, because if you get out there and you realize that like your toenails are hurting a lot, they might be a little bit too long, and you'll be more comfortable if you can clip them. I packed all of my toiletries inside my amazing Sea to Summit hanging toiletry bag. This comes on every hike with me. And because I'm a bag lady, I brought more bags. I brought both Ziplocs and grocery bags that are really helpful for dirty clothes and trash. Everything that you bring up on the volcano with you, like snack wrappers, has to come back down. So make sure that you bring either a grocery bag or a Ziploc bag that you'll put your trash in. Of course, I brought a couple of first aid items. These are specifically for blisters. A little thing of Vaseline. This prevents friction. If you feel any rubbing in your toes or your heels, take your shoe and your sock off and put on some Vaseline, and it will prevent that friction. You can also use these blister compedes. It's only a 2-day hike, so you're probably not gonna get blisters, but I always carry a pack of compede with me. And some bandage tape. This always comes in handy, and this can also be really good at preventing blisters. Pepto-Bismol, I always bring this stuff. Some Dayquil just in case I got a cold or started feeling sick, a couple of Band-Aids, and this nifty pair of scissors. I actually just got these on Amazon because the scissors that I brought with me to Guatemala got taken at the airport, which was such a bummer. So these are supposed to be TSA approved scissors. We'll see, I haven't traveled with them yet. On longer hikes, these always come in handy, but you'll have guides on your Acatenango hike, presumably, and they will also have a first aid kit to help out with anything that could go wrong. All of these first aid items go into my little mini first aid bag that I got on Amazon. Let's talk about water. Now, I'll say it again, there is no running water up there, so all of the water that you want to drink for a day and a half, you need to carry with you, or you can put that in the backpack for your porter if you decide to hire a porter. I brought this 1-liter Nalgene bottle along with a 2-liter bottle of water, and I found that 3 liters of water was the perfect amount. If you drink more water though, you may want to bring 4. Along with my water bottle, I also brought this very nifty contraption called the Hydrolid. It comes with a straw. I don't have that attached right now, but this is called the Hydrolid Base Kit Lite. And it's just a lid with a hose that attaches to your favorite wide mouth water bottle. So you screw it on, and then you have this little magnetic hook that keeps it right by your chest. And this allows you to drink while you're walking. I highly, highly recommend this Hydro Lid product. It's one of my new favorite pieces of gear. I used to hike with a water bladder, and there are a few reasons why I like the Hydro Lid better. One is that it's a lot easier to store and to keep clean. Another one is that I can see exactly how much water I have left in my bottle. With a bladder, I have no idea how much water is left, and I don't know that I'm out of water until I take that last sip. Whereas with the Hydro Lid, this bottle stays on the outside pocket of my backpack, so I can see exactly how much water I have left in my bottle. On the topic of water, I brought 2 Element hydration packets. These are my favorite. The brand is Element, LMNT. I love salty drinks and foods, and these have a ton of sodium in them, which is what you need when you are hiking all day in the hot sun. So they have sodium, potassium, and magnesium. I love hiking with these. Highly recommend that you bring one for the way up and one for the way down. One of my favorite categories is snacks. I love food, I love to eat, and one of my favorite parts of hiking is finding a great snack spot to just sit and eat and share snacks with your friends. I don't have all of the snacks pictured that I brought on the trail, but I brought meat sticks, but I brought Chomps meat sticks, a bag of cashews, a bag of gummy candy from Trader Joe's. They're called Scandinavian Swimmers. So delicious, everybody loved them, and some jelly beans. The next category is sleeping items. I also love to sleep, so it's important to me to get good sleep, and that's why I brought my favorite eye mask. It's not the most lightweight thing in the world. All the ultralighters would probably come for me for this one, but to me, it's worth it. It's plush, it's kind of like memory foam, and it just makes me feel really cozy while I'm sleeping. This is a completely optional item, but I also brought 1 set of hand warmers. When I got in my sleeping bag at night, I shook these up to activate them and then put them down by my feet, and they help my feet stay warmer because my feet get super cold at night. You don't need much because there are no outlets up there, but you probably will want to take a spare battery pack if you love to take pictures. So I brought this battery pack along with the cord that goes into my phone. Of course, I brought my phone, and I brought my rechargeable headlamp, and I made sure beforehand that it was fully charged. You will need this for the summit hike. Don't do this hike without a headlamp. That is everything that I brought with me on the 2-day Acatenango hike. I hope that this video makes you feel like you are super prepared, you know exactly what you need to bring with you, and I hope that it keeps you comfortable on your journey. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you can see more awesome travel content. Happy trails.